Hey, welcome to our discussion today, everyone. I'm Preston Barton, Vice President of Trade Compliance Solutions at Descartes Systems Group. I'm honored to have Jonathan PRIGANC. He's the Director of Business Systems for Commercial and Corporate Affairs at Meggitt PLC. Jonathan, welcome.
Good to be here, Preston.
Yeah, thanks for joining me today. So for our discussion today, we want to talk about a number of compliance issues, specifically how Meggitt tackles a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements that they're probably uniquely challenged with, just given their aerospace and defense industry that they serve. So tell me a little bit about your role at Meggitt.
So as you mentioned before, my role is I'm the Director of Business Systems for our Corporate and Commercial Affairs organization, which encompasses our legal department, our commercial organization, contracts, and our trade compliance function. Meggitt is a leading aerospace and defense provider with a focus in also a small amount of business within our selected energy markets. So we're on most Western aircraft, just about every Western aircraft that flies. So we spend a lot of time dealing with various import and export regulations across various regimes, from the US through Europe, the United Kingdom, Australia, and throughout Southeast Asia. So we have a very unique set of challenges sometimes when it comes to how we handle the export of our products to make sure we're in compliance with all of those regulations.
That's great. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. At a high level, then, how do you use our visual compliance, export compliance solutions related to that environment?
So in addition, we are using visual compliance within our environment for screening. So we, on a nightly basis, we pull in watch lists from visual compliance, and we're using, I think, every watch list that is available through there. And so we're able to screen all of our partners, so our customers, our vendors, our banks, on a nightly basis, and if there are any potential hits on there, it actually will stop any of our export transactions directly within the system. In addition to that, we'll talk about this shortly, but we're also integrating that visual compliance data with a number of other business systems to help reduce some of the workload for our employees to try to stay compliant with these regulations.
So Jonathan, next I'd like to talk specifically about how you handle screening. I think you have a fairly unique approach due to various, probably numerous use cases, and as well as the specific regulatory and compliance requirements that you face just given the industry that you're in. So tell me, why did you choose the Descartes Visual Compliance solution as your screening system?
So Meggitt looked at a number of different screening providers, again, in the space, and Visual Compliance's offering was that provided a number of different benefits that we didn't exactly see with other providers. So the platform, the interface, and the ability to really integrate it throughout some of our other business processes were definitely a driver for going that route. All of our employees have accounts to use it, so we needed something that was also easy to use for the organization. We didn't want some of the systems can be a little bit more complex, so having something that was easy to use for our employees was a key decision on that.
Okay, that's great. So then how does visual compliance really help your ability to sell, which is maybe an interesting question to ask someone who runs compliance, but how does it help you sell and then serve the broader business?
So every transaction we do, we screen against. We screen a number of the different government watch lists, and more recently, we've had to start screening for beneficial ownership research. So determining who the owners of some of our customers are, as there are different rules under OFAC that would control that. So by being able to have a strong confidence in the screening that's done, we're able to open up some potential business opportunities that if we had to do this manually wouldn't be available because it would be too onerous to have to go through and try to screen this by hand. So it's really, it allows us to know because of the way we've integrated it with our solution, we know from the minute an order is taken and an end user or a customer is put in, we know if we're able to do business with that and if we're able to ship that order. Because it will block it from the minute it's come in if there's a watch list screening, and then a hit, and then it will continue to screen all the way up until the point of delivery. So even if that is 6 or 8 months away when we take that order to when delivery may be, we still know we can still be confident in our ability to compliantly make those sales to our customers.
Okay, so some level of agility, some level of comfort around accuracy and doing due diligence when entering new markets or signing up new partners.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. So this is something that we face in a lot of larger organizations, the challenge of integrated screening, lots of systems, whether it's multiple ERPs or, CRMs, or we all probably remember when visitor screening actually happened when we weren't all sequestered in our homes. But how is the ability to integrate screening across the enterprise really benefited you? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Absolutely, Preston. So I will be 100% clear and honest on this. Trade compliance is not always viewed as an enabler of the organization.
Sure.
If you look at lean methods and lean tools, a lot of what trade compliance has to do is a non-value added task, but it's a non-value added but necessary task, because if we break the rules, we're in trouble.
Sure.
So by looking at integrating some of these solutions more of our business processes and reducing the burden on the organization to do these processes manually, we've actually been able to improve compliance, because now we know if we enter something in our CRM system and we've integrated visual compliance within that CRM system, which is something that we're actively working on right now, we know that those customers and those potential sales are already being screened prior to even going down a path of engaging with them. Because if we realize at the very front of the process that this customer, we're not going to be able to make this sale, we save a lot of time on the business of doing work that they don't need to do. And secondly, we don't need them to go into another system to do the screening and then PDF the results and then keep a record of it. By integrating it, everything is done in one system, in the system that the user wants to use, without having to jump to multiple solutions. As interesting point that you brought up visitors, because we're actually in the process of a global visitor system deployment, partially to reduce the burden on screening. And one of our key requirements for that was to find a provider that had visual compliance as a partner that they integrated with. So the solution we picked actually has out of the box a direct connection to visual compliance, and all I needed was a username and password, and it works. So it's been a very simple process, a simple integration that has allowed us to reduce our visitor screening process from about 30 minutes per visitor down to about 5 minutes per visitor. So it's a huge win for us, and we're currently in the process of rolling that out globally right now.
Okay. Well, I sincerely look forward to the day when I can visit you in person and get screened via that system. That'll be a good day. So we spent a fair amount of time in compliance talking about reducing risk, mitigating risk, ensuring that our customers and in their unique business processes are staying out of trouble. At the same time, we also want to reduce labor and hours. And so can you talk a little bit about how, integrated screening across the enterprise, maybe visibility into all of the things that are going on? And obviously, I think the example you just used is implementing a solution that's fairly turnkey. How has that reduced costs or hours of labor, et cetera, inside of the business? Have you seen an uplift there?
We have, based off of that one example, by rolling out a standard system, we're expecting to see around a 300,000 pound, UK company, so over 350,000 US dollars
sure.
on ROI yearly by being able to integrate that and reduce the time on that process. Another key example I would say is we recently went to Descartes actually within the last year to look at how we can better screen for beneficial ownership research.
Sure.
And right now we're currently using one of Descartes' partners to bring in beneficial ownership research feeds into our visual compliance platform and some of our automated solutions. By getting that data into a common platform, we were able to have all of our employees, again, do the same screening without needing to go into a different system. Prior to that, we were going to outside law firms and having those entities screened. And one of the problems with that approach is it's a point in time transaction.
Sure.
So if we screen that partner on June 1st, we know on June 1st they were not on a list. But on June 7th or July 20th or December 31st, we don't know if they've been added to that list unless we go back and have that research done again. By getting that feed into the system, it's reduced how often we have to do it. We have to engage those outside partners at a much higher rate. And one of the examples we received from one of our Switzerland sites was they said it was going to save, I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but it was upwards of a week's worth of time for an engineer every year in screening. And we know our engineers make a little bit more than some of the standard employees. So
Sure.
it was very quick ROI to be able to look at adding that feed into our solution and giving that benefit across our greater organization.
That's great. I think there's a number of examples where obviously you guys have brought a lot of your own thought leadership to tackle those issues. And I think beneficial ownership is a challenge, of course. I mean, it's a requirement, yet it's not like another screening list where a government is shining a light on who these actors are. There's not always a real clear path to solving the compliance issue without a little extra help. So I think you guys have taken a really unique approach to that, and it's probably a testament to your own compliance expertise. So is there anything else that makes the visual compliance solution stand out to you? Anything else you want to discuss?
One of the things, there are a number of other offerings within the visual compliance platform that we've looked at using that could provide, as I mentioned earlier, SAP GTS is our primary focus area.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have some sites that aren't an SAP shop or don't necessarily have the volumes that we need to that it makes sense to justify an SAP GTS deployment. So we are looking and evaluating some of the other visual compliance products to potentially find other ways to automate our solutions for some of our smaller sites. So there's a range of products within the offering that are available for companies of all sizes. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I like is I know I have the tools in my toolbox of things. As we come across new challenges and new problems, knowing that I have those Descartes tools available to us if we want to use them is very helpful for me, because there's always new problems showing up, and there's divestitures and acquisitions, and sometimes we might need a tool to use very quickly. And I know having those available is definitely a key piece of interest for me within the visual compliance and Descartes offering.
That's great. Well, Jonathan, I sincerely thank you for all of your great feedback and collaboration today. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. I look forward to continuing to support you on this journey and doing everything we can to make sure that all of your trade compliance projects are a resounding success. And I wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preston. I appreciate it.